Caribbean meal based on an old Irish recipe that was taken over to the Caribbean many moons ago during the slavery period, I believe. Now, first and foremost, I've got some beef, which is shin of beef is the best to use for this dish. Now, what I'm going to do with the shin of beef that I've got here, I'm going to add some plain flour to it. So I'll just go into my larder, get my plain flour out. To the beef, I'm going to add roughly 4 tablespoons of flour. This little measurement here is exactly 2 tablespoons. So one of those and another one of those. That's 4 tablespoons into the beef. Next, I'm going to get some mixed herbs and add to the flour mixture. What about roughly a tablespoon? Some garlic granules. Again, about half a tablespoon. Some smoked paprika. About half a tablespoon. You then season that with salt and black pepper. I've got my Dutch pot here, as you can see. This is a pot used in the Caribbean for mostly everything you'll cook in this pot. It's like a one pot dish pot. In here, I'm going to add some olive oil. About 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Let that olive oil get nice and warm. Into that, I'm going to put about 2 ounces of unsalted butter. Don't let the butter burn. So at this stage you want to turn your heat down slightly. So let the butter just melt into the oil very gently. Otherwise, if the butter burns, it will be very bitter. My butter is done, as you can see in the pot, with the olive oil. So I just want to turn that down slightly. Now I'm going to add my onions. I'm going to leave that for about 5 minutes till it picks up color. Just turn back up slightly again. Give that a stir. This operation should take about 4 to 5 minutes. So when it's done, we will come back. Look at the onions. See that lovely flavor? Next, what we're going to add to the onions is 2 cloves of garlic, chopped cloves of garlic. They're in. Alright, give that a little stir around for a minute. So the onions pick up the flavor of the garlic, so the oil picks up the flavor of the garlic. Next, we're going to take our shin of beef, which I've shown you previously how it was seasoned, and we're going to put that into the Dutch pot. In we go with the beef. Turn the heat up and seal the beef. This takes around 3 to 4 minutes. Now our beef is nicely browned out. You can see it here in the pot. So we're next going to add our carrots. Carrots in. Give that 3 or 4 minutes. Stir it around. Let the carrots pick up the juices of the beef. At this stage you can see the carrots I've picked up the flavours of the beef and all this lovely seasoned flour. Now next we're going to add to this is a bottle of Guinness. But if you can get West Indian Guinness, it's the best. Most supermarkets will sell it. Now we're going to add our Guinness. You need roughly about a 500 milliliter bottle of Guinness. You know, that will do nicely. Now we bring the heat up and burn the alcohol off. That's one thing you must always remember, burning alcohol, you have to do it, otherwise the food again can be bitter. We turn that back up on a high heat, we're burning the alcohol off. This takes about 3 to 4 minutes. Because you only want the flavour from the Guinness itself, you don't want the alcohol in the food. Alright, just leave that to burn off. There we have it, our beef. We burned the alcohol out of the Guinness. Now, what we're going to do is come over here and we're going to add some thyme. We're going to add some bay, 2 to 3 leaves. That's fresh bay from the garden, by the way. And we've got this called scotch bonnet, I believe, in Britain. Back home, it's called a Congo pepper. We're going to get that Congo pepper, and what I'm going to do with it, I'm going to just put a tiny little slit into it. Just grab my knife. Tiny slit, just to give you that Caribbean heat, the flavour. And we stick that in. Next we're going to add some beef stock. Got some beef stock here. You can either use a good stock cube or you can buy beef stock now in the supermarket. And I've got roughly about a pint of stock. Put the stock in. And all we do now is just give it a little stir. Put the lid on, leave it to cook for 2 to 2.5 hours. So now we're putting the lid on. We're going to turn the heat down and just leave that to slowly simmer for 2 to 2.5 hours. Four ounces of flour and some suet, 2 ounces of suet. So it's like 2 to 1, flour to suet. Yeah. I've mixed that in there. What I'm going to do now is season it. And to season it, you need a pinch of salt, black pepper, and some mixed herbs. All you need to do now with that is get some warm water, make a little well in the bowl, add the water a little at a time, and fold the flour with the suet, mixed herbs in. Just remember, how many dumplings you're doing is always twice the amount of flour to half the amount of suet. Fold that in. Once you've done that, you may need a bit more flour to sprinkle over the top on the board so you can take it to the board and knead it. Once it's kneaded, you leave it to rest in the fridge for a good half an hour. Alright, so we need a little bit more self-raising flour in here. Perfect. Keep working it till you get a firm enough dough that you can put on the board and roll. Let's clear my board. Alright, I'm flouring my board, as you can see. This my dough is here. I'm going to knead it for further 5 minutes, and then I'm going to roll it. And these dumplings are lovely. Absolutely wonderful and fluffy. Now you need to roll it. So you've got one big long sausage. There we are, we've got our sausage. Now what I need to do next is to cut my sausage into about 1.5 inch pieces. Right, you then take your cut sausage, put it in the palm of both hands and roll. And there we are, first dumpling. Do the same with a piece of sausage in the palm of your hands and roll. Continue doing this until they're all done. Put in the fridge for half an hour before use. Now the dumplings are done, you can see them here. They're ready to go into the stew. But I'm leaving them out for 5 minutes before putting them into the stew. But then you will see, by me putting them in the fridge, firms them up. Really firms them up. So they cook much nicer, and the rise you will get is amazing. Now the stew has been cooking for 2.5 hours. I like my stew to be cooked really slowly. I'm going to take the scotch bonnet out, or the Congo pepper as we call it in Trinidad. Oh there, I dropped that. Right, I am going to look for the bay and take them out as well with a sprig of thyme. I think there's some thyme and bay on it. You don't want to get them in your mouth. You know, I mean, this is stuff from my garden, you know. Thyme and bay. I've got a massive bay tree. I've got thyme, rosemary, I've got all the herbs. So I'm taking them out now. Alright, I think they're good to go. Now, what I'm going to do is give that a stir. And oh God, there's a nice bit of meat on here that dropped out, but I'm going to give it to my cameraman.
Thank you very much. Very nice.
You told me it's very nice. Now I'm going to hold my duchy up with a glove. Turn it around a bit. Just sort of stir it round, stir it round. See, I still got liquid in there. And I still got one bay leaf left. Oh my God. Come on. Yes. And after 2.5 hours of cooking, you see the reduction of the liquid. If you can see it, it's almost very, very thick. But you don't want it to be too thick now, because don't forget, what we're putting in now are these little bowls that we call dumplings. Right. In go the first one. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. And as you can tell, I only used 4 ounces of self-raising flour for this and 2 ounces of suet. So it's always 2 to 1. And you usually get, with that amount of flour and suet, you usually get between 8 and 10 dumplings, or you can double up in it and do 8 ounces, but you've got to have a big duchy for that. Now, as you can see in front of you all, a pan of boiling water. Well, what I'm going to do with this water here, now I've got some salted water here, look, boiled salted water, not too much salt. Right. Now I've got some cassava, which is Caribbean thing that my father used to grow in the back garden. I'm going to put this, or in the backyard I should say, I should put this in here, in this pan of boiling water. Right, I've put the salt in already, and now I'm going to squeeze half of lemon into it. Now I'm going to cover the pan and let that simmer for 30 to 35 minutes. Too small a bloody lid. This is better. Fits. For my last trick, I'm going to chop some coriander and some parsley, or some people call coriander cilantro, or in Trinidad we use something called shadow benny, which is much more pungent than the coriander. But I'm using a lot of it because I love the taste of shadow benny. And if ever anyone over in Trini should think of importing shadow benny to any supermarket over here, you'll make a lot of money very quick, because it can't grow in this country and I've never seen it. But coriander has the same sort of flavor, but not as pungent as the shadow benny. And this is going to be the last thing I do after my dumplings are cooked. Put shadow benny and flat leaf parsley as a garnish on top of the stew. Stew is now done. I can't have shadow benny in this country, like they have in Trinidad, but I've got some coriander mixed with parsley, and I'm putting it on there just for the garnish. And the smell is absolutely superb. I prefer the subtler, lighter flavors actually of the coriander, because the shadow benny is quite overpowering. It's good for seasoning meat. Now we have our cassava here. Now I'm not going to do much to jazz it up or anything. I'm just going to strain it. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. And this is the way my mother used to pick the pan up, and my father used to pick the pan up and then go over to the sink and then put the lid back on and drain. And there we have the cassava cooked. But I'm not going to keep the cassava there, because I'm going to give that cassava a little garnish as well. I'm going to give it a little garnish because I think, you know, it shouldn't feel out of it. You know, it has to have a little garnish. Now, what I'm going to do is put another butter into the cassava, cover the pan, and just leave it. Turn my stew off. Put my lid back on. Let them rest. And then I will show you how I dish this up. Right, now I'm dishing up, and this is the cassava. This is my cameraman's portion, because he likes to eat. He loves my food, man.
I do indeed.
You know, so he loves to eat. So there, there I've put that on there. And what I'm going to do now is get my ladle. What is that, ladle? Ladle? Whatever bloody hell it's called, I don't know. And I'm going to literally now, oh, I can't find it. Oh, there's one. I'll use this one while I can find out what I was looking for. And the beef in there. But what I'm going to do now is stir that up. You know what I said Bob Marley used to say? Stir it down. But me, I'm going to stir it down, little darling, like him. We're stirring it down. Happy days. We got everything in there. The dumplings, the beef, the mixed herbs. And now we're going to go. Yeah, man. Let's do the business. You know, but I got to move the Dutch a little bit closer to the plate. Yeah, because I'm getting off the stove. Right, the Dutch is here now. Let's get some loveliness on here. Look at that. With the beef, the carrots. Oh, lordy lord. Lordy lord. As my father used to say. Now, what we do, we need a little bit of garnish on there to make it look nice. This is what I do. Sprinkle it on. Sprinkle it on fresh herbs. Ready to go. Just let me wipe the side off. Let me wipe the side off. Let me wipe the side off. And there we have it. Trini stew that originated there from the Irish with broccoli. And what have I put? I didn't use Irish potatoes in that, did I? What did I use? Something that come from the country, cassava, which my father grew all the time. Enjoy.